Have you ever sat around the family table having dinner and decided that you wanted a glass of wine? Or have you been out with friends at a party or any event where socializing included drinking? My speech today is going to be about avoiding the penalties and not drinking and driving. This day and age, drinking and driving is something that happens very often. Um, it can happen any time of the day, whether you're at breakfast or brunch having mimosas, to when you are winding down at the end of the night and realize that you forgot to pick something up from Walmart after you already had a couple beers or a couple glasses of wine. Alcohol is one of the many factors that many adults use, even children under 21, partake in these activities with drinking. Drinking and driving is illegal in every state in the United States. There's no exceptions, there's no tolerance for it. If you are drinking and you are over the limit, um, you're getting arrested, you're going to jail, and you're sitting until somebody comes to pick you up. I know this all too well. My dad has actually 2 DUIs, and my cousin was hit by a drunk driver on her way back from a concert a couple years ago. So I know the levels on both sides and how important it is to let you know about drinking and driving. Every state has pretty much different laws for drinking and driving. Um, the drinking laws first became known actually in the state of New Jersey in 1906. Back then, the law was called No Intoxicated Person Shall Drive a Motor Vehicle. That was, I think, a significant moment in state history as well as nationwide history of the fear of drinking and driving and abusing alcohol. Statistics show that drivers between ages 21 to 24 are the highest percent of fatal accident and driving while intoxicated crash cases. I would say that 21 to 24 is the leading area because we just turned 21. We got our ID, we're legal. Like, the first thing you want to do is like, oh, I'm gonna grab a bottle, I want to go to the club and I want to be at my friends. And that is, I feel like, why they have that age range has the leading amounts of fatal accidents, only because they're younger, they're not mature enough to actually handle as much liquor as they're actually taking in. This age range are the new legal drivers, which, like I said, who want to pregame before the party. They want to get drunk and go to the after party after the party's already over. So that it's pretty much understandable why statistics would show that this age range is the problem range. People are likely to drink any time of the day. There's this famous quote. I've used it a couple times on vacation. I've used it a couple times when I'm home. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I'm about to have me a drink. You got these kids running around here. You know how it is. Like, I need to relax. I need to chill out. But having that mindset does not mean that it is okay to, have this drink. So there is another big thing with underage drivers. Underage drivers who are 21 that actually get caught drinking and driving. When you are under 21 in the state of New Jersey, you lose your driving privileges, 15 to 30 days community service, and that's just the lightest punishment. You have to participate in alcohol safety classes and You know, I think, well, it's not even that I think, statistics say that the laws are lenient, more lenient for an underage driver than an actually licensed driver driving a vehicle intoxicated. So if you are under 21, you will get punished, but you won't get punished as bad as the $10,000 fines or so on that an adult driver over the age of 21 can get. When you're caught drinking over 21, your blood alcohol level, which is a BAC of 0.08 or higher, or less than 0.1, 0.10, which is approximately 4 to 5 beers for an average person. Depending on lower, depending on what your weight is, it's a lot with alcohol. Once you're over that limit, you are considered drunk. You should not get behind the wheel. You should actually have somebody drive you, a designated driver, or whatever. For an adult that is charged with this offense, your fine can be up to $10,000. So underage driver with no license versus you being a adult, you're getting up to a $10,000 fine if you get caught drinking and driving, doing anything. So it's just best to get that DD. Another thing with being an adult and over the influence, you could be in prison for up to 30 days. You're going to get an insurance surcharge. Maybe if you had other surcharges on your license, you could get an insurance surcharge. And you have to do 6 hours a day, consecutive days in an intoxicated driver response center. And then that's like your first two offenses, between your first two offenses. Your third offense, you are losing your license indefinitely and you will serve some jail time, which I think that it should happen after the first or second time because people have to learn the lesson of not drinking and driving. So, I mean, that's my opinion. We all drink knowing that it's illegal to drive. We all drink and drive knowing that it's illegal to drive. Why do we do that? There is an article that states that alcohol influences judgment and decision skills. So even if we know that it's something that we should not be doing, or we know that we could get in trouble for it, alcohol gives you the courage to do things or break the law, even though you know that it's wrong. You know what I mean? We've all had plenty of times. We probably been in the moment and did some stupid things because of the alcohol. Blame it on the alcohol. Alcohol is also something that you can have an addiction to. Many people in the world are addicted to alcohol, which is referred to as alcoholism. Alcoholism can come to you genetically, meaning if a parent or someone in your family previously had a alcohol problem, you see them drinking, like it can genetically come to you, which is why a lot of people can't control themselves when it comes to alcohol. Henry Begleiter, he was a psychologist. He conducted research that concluded brains of alcoholics react differently, which could boil down to making you become a habitual offender for drinking and driving and continuing to do it, which is pretty much how I would describe my father. My father, in my first speech, I talked about family. My father had a business. He was actually a truck driver. If you are a truck driver and you get any infraction or drinking and driving on your license, you completely lose your commercial license. So once he got his first DUI, he lost his commercial license. He still had his business going. He still had drivers. But once he did it that one time, it was a reoccurring thing for him to continue doing it and continue drinking and driving, which is why I chose this topic, because it kind of hits home for me in a lot of ways. To conclude my speech, drinking and driving is a serious offense, and we should all think before we actually have that drink. Have your designated driver like here, like ready to go. Make sure they didn't have any drinks. Just make sure that you are well aware of your surroundings. People drink and drive at all times of the day, so you definitely have to pay attention on the road at any time of the day. Bus driving is drunk driving. Bus driving is like, oh, I'm just buzzed. I got a little buzz. Um, that's still drunk driving. You're still drunk driving. You might not be over the legal limit, but you still can get pulled over, and you may not get detained, but they will pull you over and they will keep your car, on the side of the road until somebody comes and gets you. So be mindful of that. I do want to say, don't be a statistic just because you think that you're okay to drive. Everybody thinks that they're okay to drive when they have had a couple of drinks. So you never know how much is too much until you actually get behind the wheel. There's liquor, there's beer, there's wine. You have different tolerance for each one, but all of them do the same exact thing. There's nothing that you can do to get over being drunk. The only thing that it takes is time. It takes time, and that's pretty much how you're going to settle yourself down. So if you think, oh, I'm drunk right now, and then, when I leave the club in about an hour, I'm going to be all good. No, it does not take an hour for your liquor consumption to go down and make you sober. It doesn't take an hour. But I explained some of the risks. So since we know the risks that arise with drunk driving, it's safe to say that we should avoid this, avoid the roads, so we can keep everybody and ourselves safe.